You remember Kindles, the tablet made for electronic book reading? Maybe you had one of your own, or maybe you just heard about it during its trendier days. The release of Amazon's Kindle in 2007 jump-started consumer interest in reading books digitally. But by the mid-2010s, these sales had plateaued and physical books reigned supreme again. But all that changed with the onset of COVID-19. People yearned for entertainment during lockdown, and some found it in reading. Online communities of book lovers gained popularity on platforms like TikTok, or as its followers affectionately named it, Book Talk. There was just one problem. It was much harder to get to bookstores and libraries during the pandemic. That's where e-readers filled the gap. Book talker Eden Jonas says that the online community made her realize that she needed a Kindle.
Honestly, it's when around the time I joined the online book community, that I started seeing a lot of people with their Kindles. I had a Kindle for a while, and then I kind of just took a break from it in the same way that I just took a break from reading while I was just focusing on trying to get good grades in school. And then I realized, I think I really want a Kindle because it's just so convenient in a lot of situations, like for traveling. So that's what kind of got me jumping at the idea of getting a Kindle Paperwhite. It's my baby. I take it everywhere.
The Kindle quickly became trendy again, partly because of the ability of its maker, Amazon, to quickly deliver it directly to people's front doorstep. With steep discounts on ebooks compared to paperback books, business was booming once again. But as pandemic layoffs hit millions of families, the cost of chasing whatever book was trendy that week began to add up. Soon enough, many people turned back to their local libraries to access ebook collections, particularly through an app called Libby. Carol Julius, a library director in Massachusetts, says the pandemic led to a huge jump in Libby usage.
At that time, it was crazy because nobody anticipated the lockdown. So, we hadn't anticipated that was going to happen. So trying to then keep up with that was just really demanding. It was very, very difficult to have as many copies as people want.
Libby is an app that lets patrons check out ebooks and audiobooks for free through their local library. All you need is a library card. The app exploded in popularity during the pandemic when many people were on a tight budget and needed a cheap way to pass the time.
That is like a saving grace. The moment they become available as an ebook at your library, you can just add them on your Kindle or any other e-reader. It also really encourages people to engage with their local libraries, which I think is important.
The Libby app has millions of users renting ebooks and audiobooks, just like they would with physical books at a library. Julius is in charge of buying these ebooks for her library and renewing all licenses from publishers, which, interestingly enough, often costs much more than adding a physical copy to their collection.
As a librarian, my life's work has been to encourage people to read however it is that they want to do that. And all I'm trying to point out is people were basically saying that we should be paying more for them because we can loan them out forever. And, it's not like a physical book that's going to fall apart and need to be replaced. And my point was no, because they limit the lending model for some of these publishers is 25 uses, and then we have to buy it again. And that does get cost prohibitive.
She hopes that publishers will realize the benefits of greater ebook access and get rid of strict licensing limits that cut off access for libraries who have lower budgets. Because for publishers, it's a net positive. The rise of e-readers are bringing more young people into reading. According to a 2021 survey by the Pew Research Center, the biggest demographic to report reading ebooks were young adults between the age of 18 to 29.
Where I work in particular, we have an older population. So I think there's some of that involved where people, of a certain demographic are more comfortable coming into the library. And certainly, though, the millennials and younger people are more apt to, go forward with a virtual book. So this is just as natural to them as getting picture books for someone who was raised at a different time.
While physical books have continued to be the most popular option for all ages of readers, there is something about using technology that's almost comforting to young people. This edition isn't a threat to physical books, but rather an alternative method for readers. Candidly speaking, Julius is surprised by how big this comeback has been.
I would have expected that the demand for that would have dropped off once we opened our doors again, but that hasn't been the case. They remain as popular as they were 4.5 years ago. And that's despite the fact that people can now check out physical books as well. We still check out far more physical books than we do ebooks. The traditional image that everybody has of someone coming to the library and checking something out is still much more typical, but Libby has gained in popularity and continues to remain really popular.
Jonas is solidly behind the benefits of using an e-reader and has strong opinions on her Kindle.
I honestly can't imagine anything doing it for me the way the Kindle does it for me, to be honest, especially the Paperwhite, because it feels so easy on your eyes. I feel like reading on another device like an iPad, it's such a nice break from being on a screen. I know that sounds crazy because you feel like your Kindle is a screen, but it's so much easier on your eyes. It feels like a break away from all the screen time we have on our phones and on our laptops and on our devices every day.
Despite their popularity with younger audiences, ebooks aren't age-exclusive. Julius has been a library director for 30 years and has a Kindle of her own.
For me, it's all about the technology. I read almost exclusively on a Kindle. I very rarely read an actual book. And my husband, who's quite a bit older than me, is the same. He reads almost exclusively on his Kindle, but it's because I take care of the technology end of it for him. Left to his own devices, I'm not sure he could do it. So I think it's just that comfort with technology that people have.
The popularity of ebooks and e-readers have waxed and waned over time, and now they're back on trend. Julius is a big fan of this tech, noting that ebooks have helped her library gain countless new cardholders. Amazon reported that their Kindle sales have grown by double-digit percentages for the past 2 years, and the same is expected through this year. According to Libby, there's been a 75% increase in book checkouts since 2019, and this number keeps rising. History may repeat itself, and ebooks could disappear from the mainstream again, but for now, it seems like they're here to stay.
My life's work is to get people to read. And if this is an avenue that's going to encourage people who maybe wouldn't have read before or who wouldn't think of coming to the library, but now will do that because they see that much more as a way of saving money, then I absolutely think they're good for libraries. I don't see us ever going back.
To find out more about this topic and our guests, Ed and Jonas and Carol Julius, head to viewpointsradio.org. For more behind the scenes and to support our show, follow us at Viewpoints Radio on Instagram, X, and Facebook. This segment was written by our associate producer, Annabelle Rivera. Our executive producer is Amira Zaveri. Our studio manager is Jason Dickey. I'm Gary Price.